Hey, everybody, it's Christian Buckley doing another MVP Buzz Chat, and I'm talking today with Lee. Hey, Lee.
Hi, Christian. How are you?
It's great to see you. And, we're just kind of having a whole, as we tend to do with these recordings, had a whole conversation. It was like,
Absolutely.
oh, that would have been good to have in the recording.
That's hit rewind. Yeah,
But
let's do it again. Yeah.
but for Lee, for folks that don't know you, who are you, where are you, and what do you do?
Yeah. So my name is Lee Ford. I'm based in the UK in Birmingham, so sort of middle of the country. I've been a developer for many years now, working in M365 technologies, but predominantly now in Teams, Copilot, and generally around extensibility. So building out from those applications, adding features in. So yeah, that's me really.
I know we've crossed paths a few times. I was trying to remember, like the last time I was over in your part of the world. I mean, it's been a while. I was trying to remember, like the last I think the last time I did an event over in London was the one Seb Matthews and Peter Baddeley and team put together, which was down in the museum district. I'm trying to
Yes.
remember. It was like one of the, I don't know if it was called the collab days or still a SharePoint Saturday or whatever it was.
In a while. Yeah.
But that was pre-COVID. So time is meaningless, since
That's it. I mean, people talk about COVID babies. I was a COVID MVP. That's literally my first summit was just when COVID all kicked off. So yeah, it's been
yeah.
a few years since then. Lots changed.
Yeah, yeah, it's gotten messy, but no, well, it's great going through and as we were kind of talking about the concentration. So you're an M365 MVP,
Yes.
same as me. But what's kind of your focus areas? What topics are you writing about, creating content around?
So I'm more on the development side of the M365 award, really. So I do a lot of extensibility mainly. So things like Copilot connectors, plugins, agents, declarative agents, building out Teams apps, using the different types of Graph API to bring M365 workloads into sort of custom applications. That's generally where I've put most of my effort in the community, is
And
talking about this.
what would you call, like, do you have like a primary contribution type? Are you a speaker, a writer, a video creator, or
I would say a speaker. I used to be a writer. I found it was a lot of work to write, and also for me, I know it sounds a bit silly, but I find it hard to find a subject that maybe already hasn't been talked about a lot, and I don't really want to kind of add to what's already been said and regurgitate it again. So I do prefer to have an hour session and kind of just go off on a rant on a particular topic.
AI can help you find those less traveled topics and sort through.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that's what I want, but yeah, no, I think
Yeah.
I do ever so rarely, really these days blog, but if I've got a real subject that I want to cover and no one else has mentioned it, or I've got an issue and I couldn't find a result online, but then I found a way around it, I'll do something like that. But if it's just relaying what's already been said already, then yeah, I'd rather not do that.
Yeah, see, I have a fundamental disagreement on that topic, only because, again, and because I look, when I advise people that are interested in becoming MVPs as well as new MVPs on this,
Yeah.
because as you know, like when we became MVPs, I had the same struggle. I'm sure most MVPs have. Like, it was, I didn't want to just be out like ringing my own bell, like, hey, look at what I've done, collecting all the stuff.
Yes.
But I started like, no, you have to catalog, the contributions, the things that you're doing, become more aware, like, hey, that's something that can be counted as a contribution
Mhm.
to get into the program. And then for renewal, you're tracking your contributions. It's not why you don't do stuff because it's a contribution. You do the stuff that you do and be
Yeah.
like, okay, this is a contribution. No, this is not a contribution. This is work related or non-community related kind of stuff. But I always tell people, is like, yeah, maybe there is another article out there. There's a video on that topic, but they don't have your voice. They don't have your perspective, the
Yeah.
scenarios around that, And so I would say don't let that be what's stopping you from creating content is that somebody else is written
Done
on
it
the
right.
same topic. But
Yeah, yeah,
anyway, I know it's ultimately it's a personal choice. Like you do you, I do me kind of thing. But
absolutely. I think and I think the way I've kind of fallen as I've gotten older really is if I'm passionate about something or I want to write about something and I will, or whether it's building an app or whatever it is, I generally tend to do it because I want to do it rather than hang on a minute, I haven't done a blog post in a month. I better write another one. It very much does come from the heart really on, yeah, okay, this is the subject I'm interested in at the moment. I'm going to talk about it and go from there. And hopefully someone wants to hear it.
what are your thoughts on with Ignite? By the time this goes live, Ignite behind us. It's happening this week while we speak, but this will
Yes.
go live in a few weeks. But any hot topics right now? Anything that you're really excited about with some of the new announcements or recent last couple months?
I think I've been quite excited. Everyone will groan when I say the word agents. I think there is a lot of there's a bit of a gap with the visibility when it comes to like governance and compliance and kind of seeing how agents are being used and what they're being used for and sort of how pervasive they are within the tenant. So I think the new announcements around like the agent 365
Yeah,
dashboard, I think tools like that really do make a difference when you're speaking to customers and trying to work out how people are using it. And from a dev perspective, I think the tooling is getting way better as well when it comes to building things in Copilot. So whether that's in Studio or with the SDKs. So again, that's the things that I've kind of. I'll be honest, I haven't watched all the sessions, but really, I've mainly skim read the book of news, and yeah, that's kind of what's stood out to me anyway.
yeah. I was going to attempt to put an AI on the book of news and have it skim and ask questions. They smart. They just need to. I don't know. Maybe they have. I need to go explore the site. But is there a Copilot? Is there an agent running on the book of news
There
yet?
is, yeah, there is, yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
there is. You can summarize it, and you can pick what type of um, consumer you are. If you're a journalist, or I
Oh,
think
that's
that,
right. No, I did notice that. That's right.
yeah,
Yeah. Thank you for that.
yeah,
It's just kind of funny, but like, yeah, obviously, again, I would have that would have been a clear like, what do you do in Microsoft? Had there not been one there, but
yes,
no,
exactly, no brainer.
it is funny with the announcements. What has it been? 3 years now since the Copilot announcements
Mhm.
officially,
Yes,
and like the MVP summit right after that. So much feedback around why are you not building AI around the administrative, the development side of
mhm,
things?
yes,
For automation, for everything else, there needs to be an agent for agents to manage agents, like all that kind of stuff. We're
yes,
now starting to see, Microsoft move into that space,
absolutely.
which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, and I think a part of it is if you go back to before Copilot, we had teams, and team sprawl was a real thing. And where are our teams? People using them, are they orphan teams? All those questions that you'd see. And similar, I think with agents now, anyone can create an agent. You need to have tooling to be able to see, what these agents are, who's building them, how are they using them. And I think the biggest challenge probably that Microsoft had was they had this really cool technology, generative AI came out. It was the biggest thing in the world. We need to get something out there. We need to build something. We need to put it in people's hands before our competitors, and then we'll worry about how we're going to like all the tooling around that and all the nice to haves or bring later. And like you say, we're finding out, I think, getting those tools to help sort of complete the picture really.
Yeah. It it's I find myself explaining again, I was just running a workshop yesterday, and there's a question that came up about why there's such differences in how Copilot works across the various M365 apps. Like, why couldn't Microsoft be consistent in that? And I'm like, you have to realize those are each individual teams. They were all given the directive to go and add in AI capability. And so they each had strategies and priorities and building that stuff out. It's not like there's one team building all of those
True.
pieces.
And also how they're built underneath, like some of these apps, you think they're decades old at this point. They've probably got underlying technical debt there that means they have to build it in a certain way,
Yep.
and that also then means the AI has to be bolted on in a certain way, and it's not always consistent, across the whole product range. I guess that's
I
I'd
just
say
assume there's front page code within each one of them somewhere.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. No, no, I think, yeah, I suspect it wasn't. It's not going to be a straightforward thing for them to do, and I think there's probably also a priority thing where, well, we need to have it in these applications first, and we'll worry about the other ones later. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's why it's maybe not quite as consistent or as a unified approach as
Well,
people might want.
Well, that's always been like a criticism of Microsoft, like versus Apple, where they basically they lock out new version iOS, and old versions. Like, no, there is no like you can up move your data across, but there's like the systems are like it's a completely different, separate thing, and so
Yes,
it's whereas Microsoft is everything is always backwards compatible,
yes,
historically with those
yeah,
things. They have to think about all of the integrations across this vast sea of applications.
absolutely. I mean, the thing is, when it comes to things like Apple, it is obviously, a good unified product set, but then that also makes it easy for them to, like you say, manage these yeah, off points. Let's say, right, okay, this old OS is now deprecated, whereas you've got large organizations, with hundreds of thousands of devices running on a certain OS or application. You can't just go right to them, all right, yeah, we've decided now this is, obviously you're going to have end of support and things like that, but it's not, we're talking over multiple years rather than just right, we've just now decided this, for this iPhone, the next release of iPhone, you need to have a minimum of iPhone 13, 14, whatever it is. You can't do that really. I
Yeah.
think in the enterprise world.
Hey Lee, one question I always like to ask
Okay.
is like origin story of becoming an MVP.
Okay.
Like what was your path? I know it's been a few years, but what was
Yeah.
that path like for you?
So I mean, so when I first, so I left school. I'm not going to go through every single job I went to, but
Mhm.
I left school and I kind of went into telephony really, and that was mainly just because I got to 16, didn't really want to go to college or uni, um, and I got a job at a local company doing telephony work. And telephony was originally like wires, physical
Yeah.
things.
Hey,
Uh,
that's my background as well. So
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then obviously then it got into IP and networking,
mhm.
and then obviously Microsoft products like OCS and LCS and Link and Skype for Business and Teams, and you can see the pattern here of how I sort of moved across. And during that sort of migration from all these different products, I kind of also pivoted more from being an implementation of it to a extensibility and development of those platforms. So building out add-ons and whatnot. So yeah, pretty much always seem to at the right time jump from, okay, I'm going to be doing PSTN to, right, I'm going to be doing networking now. I'm going to be doing
Yeah.
um, Microsoft products really. So it's obviously for the last probably 15 years, it's mainly been Microsoft. And yeah, about almost 10 years ago, I guess I started blogging, writing about Teams and Skype for Business and M365. And it was mainly just I've got this issue. I've worked out how to get around it. I'm going to blog about it because back then, if you had an issue, or even now, I suppose you'd go online and see if anyone else has had the same issue. So I was kind of just paying it back really, and kind of just kept at it really, and did more and more blogs. Started writing some applications, sort of releasing them out into the community, script samples, whatever it is, and yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing now for probably about 10 years, I would say.
Those are cool. Are you still doing the UC stuff?
Yeah, I still get involved. Probably not as much as I used to. Back in the day. Skype for Business and Teams with
Yeah.
huge migrations with session border controllers and all that. Not really my stuff anymore. So when it comes to UC, it's probably still involved in Teams, but it would be more about the extensibility within Teams rather than the
Right.
telephony side or the meeting room space.
It's just for us that came up to on the collaboration side. I mean, I have again my telephony backgrounds back in the 90s. So some of it's still there. I remember, some of the acronyms, the lingos, and understanding of components of it, but it's
Yes.
still a pretty specialized. The folks that are the
Absolutely.
team's extensibility experts on the UC side of things. But it's like it's where most people struggle in going and getting like the MS 700 certification is with all the UC stuff, because they know how to do the collab stack. They just
Yes.
they don't know the telephony side of things.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, but it's something that, yeah, it's still somewhere in my brain, but thankfully I've not had to I've not had to
Yeah,
dig it out for a while. But yeah, obviously things like session board controllers and SIP, and now I think Teams, things with like direct routing and Operator Connect, they've made it so much easier now
yeah,
for organizations to kind of get onboarded into telephony, whereas, sort of 10 years ago it was you would need to hire someone like
right,
yourself to get in, install some equipment,
right.
on premises, and hook it all up, and monitor and manage it. And now you can almost go on a portal and order some PSTN numbers, and away
It's
you
all
go.
interface driven versus pulling
Absolutely.
wires. Yeah, yeah.
Abs- Absolutely.
Yeah. No, it's funny. It just when you said that, it just made me remember, like, 30 years ago, I had a buddy who would go and set up phone systems and stuff, and he would get
Mm.
we lived in Northern California, and he would get these state contracts, and a couple times he was shorthanded. I went and helped him out on a weekend where we're pulling and running new wires and cables like that.
Yes.
Just man, just those good times, getting up into those drop ceilings,
I was
moving
going to say,
wall,
your knees now probably wouldn't want to do that. Well, mine
right.
anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's no, it was fun to go and do it, and of course help out a buddy in his company doing it. But it's I just remember at the time, I had my day job and stuff, but I also had experience roofing and hardwood flooring. And I
Oh, wow.
remember being in a giant state of California office somewhere in Sacramento, this massive building on a Saturday. All the air conditioning is off because it's the weekend,
Yeah, of
and
course.
so it was
Yeah.
stifling in there. And then you're crawling in the walls and the crawl spaces doing the stuff. And I just thought, man, I'd rather be roofing.
Yeah, yeah, be outside
At
in the
least
fresh
get the
air.
breeze occasionally,
Yeah, 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 absolutely, absolutely.
Uh,
Yeah, I remember doing all the cable runs, and obviously, especially as a youngster, you always get given the horrible ones as well. And I remember doing one in this old Tudor building. It was absolutely boiling, and I remember went up in the attic, and I could just hear, I was like, "What's that humming noise?" It's like a massive wasp nest. And I was like,
of
"Okay,
course, of
yeah,
course.
I'm done. I'm not going up there
Look at the
again."
young guy up there. I know.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. No, good. So many fun stories like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, but anyway, hey, are you any other major events or anything coming up that you're participating in? Any major activities?
Ooh, not. I think I've got a pretty quiet end of the year actually. Summer was kind of quite busy with speaking. I think the next event that I'm booked in to speak at is Cloud Technology Town Hall Tallinn, which is a bit of a mouthful, but that's in Tallinn in Estonia. I went last year. It was
Oh,
a really, really good event.
oh, very
Uh,
cool.
yes, doing a couple of sessions then early next year, and yeah, that's about it really for me.
Nice. And there's over just in the UK, there's a bunch of cool events that are going on there. You've got the Scottish Summit, the what is it? Is it the not South Beach, but what is it?
Oh, South Coast Summit. Yes, that
Yeah,
was
yeah.
a few
Southwest.
weeks
Yeah.
ago. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's
Comms
that.
Quest, another one, which is, I think, yeah, I've done 4 or 5 of those now. That's a
Yeah.
really good one as
And
well.
you've got Comsverse that happens every
Yes.
June, I think.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Well,
yeah, 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 yeah. So
so
it's a,
there's a lot going on in that part of the world. Are you coming over for MVP Summit? Are you going to make it in March?
I've registered. I haven't made a decision yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll have to
I know
see
it's
how
it's
that. I
not
think
like
a
the
lot of
old
people.
days where they help cover some of the expense of coming across, but
Exactly right. It's obviously time off. It's the expense. It's the yeah. It's obviously time away from family. So it's just yeah. Haven't made a decision yet. I'll make a decision probably in the new year. How I
yeah.
feel it all. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah. But no, I completely get it. But
yeah.
but Lee, really appreciate your time and chatting. Hopefully, I'll see you in March if you're able to make it across. But But otherwise, for folks that want to get in touch, of course, we'll have all of Lee's contact information on the blog and out on the YouTube page. So I always say, don't be shy. Reach out to MVPs
Absolutely.
if you've got questions, if you have ideas and want to collab with MVPs. We love that. If somebody
Absolutely.
comes to me with an idea, hey, I have this idea, doing this together, a session together, an article together, a video or something, like, let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would say one of the hardest things about community contributions for me is coming up with that idea, with that spark. Once I've got the idea or the spark, you kind of get excited about it and you can kind of just go off and do it. For me, it's always right, okay, what do I want to do now? What's the next idea? And once, sometimes if someone comes to you with that idea, it's even better because you haven't had to think about it. You've just got the thought and you can run with it. So yeah.
I don't know. My issue is not the ideas; it's the prioritizing the ideas.
Oh, okay.
So, which is
Yeah, that's that could be an issue as well. I think you've got too many ideas, then you do a little bit of what
pick one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I know
No.
the AD and ADHD in me just does a little bit of each one and does everything eventually. But it's better to prioritize. And
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, I'm terrible at prioritizing as well. I'll have 10 different things that I want to do, and I'll do 10% of each one rather than doing 100% of one. Yeah, unfortunately, that's in me too.
yeah, that's it's the sad part of being an idea person. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
people don't understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, Lee, thanks a lot for your time.
No worries. Thank you for having me.